I wanted to talk today about majoring in the minors and to avoid it. What I mean by that is, I think it's human nature. We're inquisitive creatures. We like to kind of go down rabbit holes and learn about really specific things. So there's an area that we really enjoy. We'll research more about it and want to learn more. I think that's just part of human nature. The thing that I think we have to remember when it comes to our health and nutrition is what are our goals and where are we at right now? Because those goals will change. Our mastery levels will change. What we were able to accomplish, a year ago is going to be different than 2 years from now. And with all that in mind, we have to make sure that we don't get caught up in the minors of nutrition if we are not majoring in everything. Okay, so what does that mean exactly? There's about, 6, 7, 8 foundational things when it comes to your health that you want to be thinking about and hitting consistently before we start thinking about these more minor details, if you will. Okay, so these major things, what are they? It is things like strength training 3 to 4 times a week, walking enough where you're getting about 7,500, at least 7,500 steps a day, or doing some form of movement throughout the day, whether that's cardio, up and down stairs, riding your bike, just moving throughout the day and not staying sedentary for hours at a time. Drinking at least 60 to 75 ounces of water. I think I said I didn't say sleeping. I had it in my head and then I started at my list. Sleeping at least 6 hours a night consistently. And it's okay for some of these, you miss a day, but protein, eating enough protein, at least 0.7 grams to a gram per pound of body weight. So I weigh more than this. Let's say a woman weighs 150. Aim for 150 grams a day or a little less, 120 to 150 for someone who weighs that much. Fiber, at least 20 grams a day. A diet that is diverse. Fruits, vegetables, lean meats, fats, healthy fats, okay? And switching it up, finding the meals that you like, finding the meals. And this is a big one. This is a really big one. Finding the meals that you enjoy that support your fitness goals, okay? I don't like most seafood. I'm not going to eat seafood. There's a lot of healthy benefits with seafood that I don't get, okay? But I'm not going to force myself to eat seafood. I can try to see if there's ways I can fix seafood that I would like that's still healthy. But knowing that if, I say, give me a meal plan, I'm just going to follow it, that's not realistic. It's realistic if you can find foods that fit in that area. But it's not realistic if you're forcing yourself to eat something that you don't enjoy and you don't like and it's a chore. All right? And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And then this is another big one, but reducing stress, whatever that means for you, okay? That could be things like praying, meditating, going for long walks, breathing exercises, things like that. And some of these things kind of are easier to do because they're like action-based. Like, okay, I can do that. That makes sense. Some of the things like reducing stress and your nutrition and kind of that protein too. It's figuring out what works for you so that you're doing that over the long haul, okay? We know sleeping 6 to 9 hours a night, just go to bed, right? Drinking, just drink some water, okay? Sips here throughout the day. The protein, the fiber, the diet, and I would say reducing the stress. How are you going to do that? And that's a very personalized thing, okay? And one thing that I have found helpful first with protein and in that is the diet, is doing things, looking, and this is a thing where please scroll on Instagram for this. There's plenty of recipes, quick meal ideas. These things, what works now, and I said this a little bit earlier, what works now might not work 2 years from now, okay? I have littles, so, and time's limited, which I think everyone's time's limited, but I'm looking for meals that are 30 minutes or less, make a lot, and it's something that I can manipulate where all of my family can eat, okay, including allergies and avoiding allergies, things like that. So that can be a lot, and it's a lot of trial and error, and it's a lot of, well, that was okay, I ate it, but that wasn't really satisfying. But then I'll tell you, it is so rewarding when you find something and you're like, man, that was good. That was really good. I found a recipe the other day. His handle is Stealth Health Life. He has a bunch of high protein recipes, but with the lens of these are comfort foods that you can eat, but also are going to be good, have the protein, good for you, have healthy foods, some vegetables, things like that, lean meats. And he made a knockoff crispy chicken sandwich. Y'all, Chick-fil-A's a little ruined for me now. Not gonna lie. It's gotten to the point with my eating habits that I don't want to eat out anymore because I would rather eat what I fix at home. Not only do I feel better, I don't get nauseous, it's also supporting my goals, the work that I'm putting in at the gym. So that's been kind of a really big game changer, because I think when we're younger, especially for me, when I was younger, I used to love, and I still do to a point, going out to eat, and having that experience with friends. But now, a different stage of life, that's not, if I could go by myself, and then honestly, it's coffee. It's not even food. If I could go, with a couple of girlfriends and we go and have some hot coffee and we just chat and visit, perfect. I don't need food, okay? Because I ate my food at home and I liked it better, and then I don't have to pay for the food. It's kind of like that. And the coffee, I don't have all the fancy syrups, and so it's kind of a treat, So that's changed. And then the protein. And I hear this, and this was me too. I always gravitate toward really sides and really good vegetables. And this is good, in a sense, that I'm attracted to vegetables when I go out to eat. But roasted Brussels sprouts, really well done green beans, sweet potatoes, all the potatoes. But the thing is, delicious. The thing is, it's all heavy in carbs. And not that I'm as worried about carbs, but lots of added butter, lots of added, sometimes sugar, things like that you don't really realize. And it just adds up because that's just how they have to cook it. And it's cooked, and, you lose that level of control, and it adds a lot of calories that you're not really considering. So with that said, protein was never a priority. I never went to the restaurant and was like, man, I just really want a good steak. No, I really want a good piece of chicken. No. It was always the sides. Like, oh, okay, can't wait. Can't wait to try the appetizer. I can't wait to try, the sides. Oh, so good. But this past year, I have really tried to aim to get about that 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And what I have seen slowly, this transition where one, my cravings are a lot less when I prioritize the protein. Protein helps with you feeling full and satisfied. So here's the barrier. Finding a protein that you like to eat, you like how it's cooked, and that you look forward to eating. Okay? Now, do we need to make every meal this like, oh, this is amazing? And I mean, that would be great. Maybe some of you can get there. But it's not always going to be like this, moment where you're like, okay, all of my goals are realized because of these meals. But when I think of what I gravitate toward now with my meals that are, heavy in protein, I'm like, I don't feel like I'm just fueling the tank. I don't care what I eat. And now it's transitioned to, no, I mean, this is good. Like, I like how it tastes. Some of my go-tos, oatmeal. And I literally made a post about this 2 or 3 years ago that I hated putting egg whites in my oatmeal. I thought it was nasty. Now, I put it in my oatmeal. I put PB Fit in my oatmeal. I put berries in my oatmeal. I put a little bit of brown sugar in my oatmeal. And it's delicious. The oatmeal. Yes. I got interrupted. So I really enjoy, that's a dish I enjoy, and it's like, I don't know, 25 grams of protein. For lunch, I'll either make some kind of cold cut sandwich, but there's this recipe with that crispy chicken. I'll do that and make some homemade honey butter, side of vegetables. And then for dinner, it's usually just protein, starch, vegetable. And that's what I'm eating these days. And it's things I look forward to. It's things I enjoy eating. I feel satisfied eating it. And, I enjoy it. I would incorporate also more pasta if I could. There's a lot of like chickpea pasta and things like that I think are really great. But because of allergies, my family can't have that. So that's like a huge, huge piece of this is new nutrition. The other piece is moving throughout the day. Okay. Okay, baby. Not being sedentary. There is this principle of movement, I guess what you would call it, is NEAT. And I don't know what the acronym stands for right now. But basically, it's the calories that your body burns throughout the day just from natural movement. It's how much, are you moving throughout the day that makes that NEAT principle higher. All that to say, it's important that we're moving throughout the day, okay? And this is not, again, exercise. This is not, okay, every hour, every 30 minutes, every 4 hours, do a workout. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, if you're at a sedentary desk job, every hour, top 10 minutes of the hour, bottom 10 minutes of the hour, get up, go for a walk around the building, go up the stairs, down the stairs, walk over to your coworker, walk back, I don't know, but just increasing that movement, maybe doing, some rotations, some jumping jacks, things like that, things that make sense, if you have a private office, but thinking about that, how can you increase movement throughout the day with what your job looks like? Some of us don't need that because you're up and down, you have a more labor heavy job, things like that. But a lot of us are in those sedentary desk jobs where it is difficult to get that movement in, especially if we're not thinking about doing it. And then I do understand, there are some jobs where literally you cannot leave your desk, and that is challenging. So seeing if you can get a standing desk so you can switch between standing and sitting, and what works. And it might just be, you take a walk in the morning, you take a walk in the evening, and at lunchtime, because you can't literally move during the day. What else? The strength training. Lift heavy and challenge yourself with weights. That would be why I would start. Find a trainer, that you like, who prioritizes that. I think that's a really big deal, is lifting weight that's heavy, okay? And trying to build muscle. Women, you're not going to get bulky unless you are really going out of your way to plan to eat enough to build that muscle to then turn and get, that more of that definition, more of that bulk. But if you are not going out of your way to do that, lift heavy, you're not going to get bulky. And toning and building muscle is the same thing. So accept that. Toning and building muscle is the same thing. Walking, water, yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. Sleeping, that's harder. Because I know for me, I struggle where when I get home, all I want to do, when I get home, once the kids are in bed, all I want to do is turn into a couch potato and then watch something for like 2.5 hours. I don't have 2.5 hours if I'm going to try to get at least 6 or 7 hours of sleep at night and then get up the next morning. And my goal is always to do my workout before my kids get up, so I'm not having to do that while they're awake. And so it's these things like that for me is true discipline. I've gotten to the point, and I've always enjoyed moving, so I've gotten to the point where I don't need to do goals for my workouts. That is a priority. Besides getting up early, reading my Bible, and praying, my next biggest priority is getting my workout done. And I it's like a 95% success rate. It's pretty rare that I'm not able to get a workout in. And then I usually plan for it. So the discipline. So that might be, and I'm talking to myself, the discipline to say, lights off 9:30, lights off 10:30, whatever that time that works for you is. And then there's some times where it's like this night, because of how my work is set up, I'm not going to be able to get enough sleep. And then other nights I am going to be able to sleep more. And I know that they say you can't catch up on sleep. And I just think it's one of those things, like, just do the best you can. Because my husband does shift work. The days he works, he gets, on a good night, 6 hours. On a bad night, 4 hours a night. And it is what it is. And then on the other nights, he's sleeping more, about 9 hours. So, and that's just the phase of life we're in. And that's as good as it's going to get right now. But with sleep heals your body. It helps your body recover from the day. So it's really important. Protein, talked a little bit about that. Fiber, I feel like this is like a newer thing. But you'll see more and more about how gut health really impacts a lot. And it's more, I think, the medical profession is finding out more and more through research how important gut health is. And that's where fiber comes in. And so protein, and then you'll hear a lot of people talk about fiber, getting enough fiber. If you're eating fruits, vegetables, healthy fats, you're probably hitting your fiber through fruits, some of those healthy fats, and some of those vegetables. But that's something to try to track. And then I've talked mostly about diet. The last is the reducing stress. That is probably one of the hardest for me. I feel like I'm a naturally anxious person. And you might not know that from interacting with me, but I'm like the duck who's calm, cool, calm, and collected on top. But then inside, my brain is going like 100 miles a minute. And I'm doing everything in my power to suppress looking like I'm stressed. Unless I'm around someone like my husband, where I know I can freak out and he's going to be like, okay, we need to calm down. And what do you need from me right now? Because we're up here, we need to come down here. So praying is what helps me, because I want to avoid sinning. When I get anxious, I want to control things. And then if I feel like I'm not able to control things, then I get mad. And that's not really righteous anger. So, yes, and then I yell. All of that is to say, what do I personally need to do to avoid getting to that point where I get mad? Okay? I know control's an issue. I know that I get anxious. What are the things I can do to reduce the anxiety? And then what are the things I need to do to understand that the anxiety I have is usually in my head and not realistic. It's in my head and not realistic. So, to me, that's turning to God in prayer and saying, take this away. This is not godly. This is not something that's helping me. This is not something that's helping me do your will. So, I need the Spirit to help me through that. And that's really hard for me, because I go on autopilot. I'm like, control, control, control. And it doesn't work for me. But your stresses might be different. And it's trying to figure out what they are, how to avoid them the best you can, and what ways to reduce it. So, and it's the same with your diet. That honestly is the most challenging part with some of these goals, is figuring out what is going to work for you. Because not everything that works for me is going to work for you, is going to work for Sally, is going to work for Joe. Okay? So you got to figure out what works for you. And honestly, the stress and the diet, you figure that out, you're well on your way. Because the rest is just easy. Just got to get it. Just got to get up and do it. You just got to get up and walk some, you just got to go to bed. Those are the major things. Strength training, walking or moving throughout the day, water, sleep, protein, fiber, diverse diet, reducing stress. You get those foundations, okay, consistently. Not perfect. I did another video. I'll link it. We don't need to be perfect. And in fact, that's the enemy of the good. That's the enemy of being consistent, okay? No one's perfect, so don't expect yourself to be perfect. And that actually is probably another way to reduce stress. Is to realize that's your mantra. I am not perfect. If you have questions, if you need help, let me know. I'm happy to help. I just want people to feel better, move better, and not have chronic pain, and not wake up feeling bad about themselves, or just feeling bad because they haven't moved in 10 years. They haven't really focused on eating a healthy diet to avoid common ailments that can be avoided, afternoon fatigue, headaches, indigestion, all these things, a lot of these things that could be avoided if we prioritize these big foundation blocks of health and nutrition and fitness. So anyways, I hope you all enjoyed that. Please like it. Please subscribe to my channel. And I'm here to help.